Okay, we're back with part 2 of the single pedal or e-pedal off in the Nissan Leaf, so we can put some wear on the brake pads and rotors, so when we need the brakes they're going to work better. And we're on US 30 Lincoln Highway headed toward Lisbon, Ohio. So the pedal's so much easier to push without the e-pedal on. It's like a normal gas pedal, and it's actually a little on the light side. It's nice. A little more resistance as you go down than there was at the top of the pedal. But it feels like a different pedal. And of course the car doesn't come to a stop when you let go. You gotta use the brake pedal now. So single pedal drive is one of the most favorite things of owning an electric car, is driving with one foot and then being ready with the brake pedal those times when the car doesn't stop where you want it to. Oh, they got salt built up here for the winter. Good looking Hyundai. So this 172, we'll do a trip through there one time where the locks are, and not today. We'll go by the car charger in Lisbon, just loop around. We don't need to use it, and we don't need to go eat or do any shopping there. And then, like I said, we'll check out the charger in Salem. I doubt if it's on. And then we need to go to Advanced Auto Parts to pick up the Wix Premium filter for the wife's 2019 Equinox and do an oil change. I bought the Dexos 020 for it, and I just bought that to have oil on because we had no oil on our car's low, and the car does not look like it had the oil change when she bought it. We get an email report even though we canceled OnStar, and it says her oil life's at 50%. Well, it's looked dirty, so I was like, you know what, I've got the oil. I can always buy another 5 quarts to keep around for her car. Because we always, we get the oil at Walmart. It was like 28 and change plus tax for 5 quarts of Castrol, synthetic. And then, O'Reilly, I'm sorry, not Advanced Auto Parts. O'Reilly has the premium Wix filters. They've got regular Wix filters and premium. So it's like $16 now, but you know, it's worth it. We don't drive a whole lot. So she drives more now that she's working. COVID kind of drove her back to work, or post-COVID. A little bit of rain coming into Lisbon over to Beaver Creek, the bridge. Yeah, the pedal, just keep wanting to say gas pedal, feels like a totally different animal. It's really quite pleasant compared to the e-pedals, like you've got more spring on there. I guess we can keep it off for a while. So, yeah, I did that video where you can go in and program your e-pedal to be on all the time. That way, because the problem was I would pull out of the garage, turn the e-pedal on, and you're used to driving that, and then next time you pull out of the garage, like, whoa, because it would, every time you turn the car off and turn it back on, your e-pedal was gone. So you can go in your vehicle settings, and like I said, I've got that on there. Go in there and set up your e-pedal so it's on all the time. So now when I select it, it actually turns it off instead of on. So this is Lisbon, Ohio. It used to be New Lisbon, Ohio back in the old days. And this is the county seat for Columbiana County, Ohio. Yeah, the banks, they didn't set their clock back. You figure a lot of things would be set automatically, and I thought the Nissan Leaf would be too. So I'll do that manually, I guess, when I get home, is match the clock to the Apple Android system. So the Leaf is 12:22, and Google Maps, it's only 11:22. And we were going through papers the last few days of what it was like 60 years ago. There's some kind of Facebook page that glorifies the old days when people were kids. And I was like, well, you didn't pay attention. Your parents read the paper, you read the funnies. So you got the Cuba thing going on 60 years ago. There's a ballot or something in Ohio asking people to cancel this 1800s law where you can't buy anything on a Sunday that's not a necessity. And it's the Lawson Milk Company wants you to pass this so you can buy milk and bread at their convenience stores on Sunday. So imagine that. And then in December, I skipped ahead a little bit, so I knew that was there. I went back and copied it, and that's when the Surgeon General approved the polio vaccine, December 1962. So thank God for those medical people and scientists that do that. I thought it was earlier. I know I've seen polio charity dance ads in the 1950s. So it's nice to run into stuff by accident looking for something else, and it kind of puts the history together. So the cheap TVs, they were trying to compete with Sears. The portable, the cheapest I found is $159, black and white, 19-inch. And then a spindly leg, one for your living room, the cheapest is $259. Most TVs were really expensive. And nobody's telling the price of the new color TVs and stuff. So you can imagine, well, you probably can't, because you think things are more expensive now, but you can buy several TVs for what you bought one for back then. So this road's been needing redone for a very long time. There's cars at the Port Authority. So there's your chargers for the county. And when I left the one on Columbiana after an hour, it actually dropped to half. Like we were sucking too much money out of the system. I don't know what they're paying for electric, but I'm paying less than a nickel. So they set up this free charger with the money from the Volkswagen diesel fines. And then the funding for the electric also. So this one, it might be set the same way, who knows. But at either one, I see people abandoning their cars there to charge them long term. Maybe they don't have home charging, but it's nowhere near as fast as the home charging. And then the one in Columbiana knocked it down to half after an hour. But what would you do? I mean, I got 7 kilowatts eating lunch in Columbiana. So that's over 30 miles. So it's like a gallon of gas. I mean, have you ever been somewhere that does free gas? And then the college we went to did quick charging. And I didn't have the phone signal until I got home, and it was free. So it's like, hey, I'm going to enjoy all this while I can. So the whole point was, if people complain about gas prices, Well, gas prices have been high many times in the past. Well, what we did was carpool. We didn't whine about it and blame somebody. We carpooled. When you went somewhere, you did multiple mission trips. You got all your tasks done with one trip to save gas. And then if you bought a car, you bought something like, my first 2 cars got over 40 miles a gallon. Stick shift Mercury Topaz, lemon from hell, and the Saturn SL, which had some problems on its own, but they both got over 40 miles a gallon easy without trying. 5 speeds. So there's always something you can do. And wife brought home T-bone steaks from the local store, $5.99 a pound. A little tough, so I'm gonna beat the living daylights if I follow the next one with the meat tenderizer and stuff. Seen bacon for $3.99 a pound. Eggs are $2 a pound. That's kind of normal. The egg prices dropped just drastically. Like 6 years ago, you could buy like 60 eggs for $1 in Walmart. I don't know. It's like they were taking over the egg and milk thing. So some things were more expensive in the old days, and some things are more expensive now. But I think overall, people just don't realize, and that's the old age thing. Young people are lazy, and prices cost too much. Yeah, my kids make a whole lot more money than I did without working as much. So you watched old people being cranky, complaining about stuff, so cut the crap. Look into it, see what your kids are pulling in and how they're making out. Old people don't need as much, don't spend as much. Don't be, put off the old people mentality as long as you can. What's going on here? The old Larry Zonka property. Now, one of my favorite ingredients for some reason during COVID went from $1.32 down to 82 cents. It dropped 50 cents. Now it's right back up to where it was. And across the street from me is a whole parking lot of people at the community center burning off calories. Because they ate too many calories to start with, like me. Except they're burning them off. I'm just watching them pull in and leave everything. Hopefully I can drop some soon. But yeah, people times tough. You don't see any gaunt, skinny people. You're not going to be able to buy some of the stuff you used to buy. You can buy off-brands. Some of that stuff is better than the name brand stuff anyway. So I've worked a maximum of 3 jobs. I remember the wife working 2 jobs when times were tough years ago. That's normal. And we don't go after people. Oh, stop blaming other people and learn to live with whatever you got. And like this electric car, I had the huge van. So I could have been out there bitching like the rest of the people in these huge pickup trucks. They never put nothing in. There are no 8-foot beds anymore, hardly. They just drive around in a truck and lift them off the ground for no damn reason. When you lift them off the ground, you get less miles per gallon. They got to make them loud. They're making up for something that they're missing in their manhood. Yeah, full church. So another thing in the news is homeless, and that's been on my mind since I was young. Churches are like huge, empty buildings over 90% of the week. There's your homeless thing. Turn it into homeless shelters. Finally do something good and put the money to good use. There's some huge churches in Pittsburgh that just sit there empty all the time. And the bigger and stuff like that they are in this country, the less they get visited usually. They're kind of, I don't know, I always thought they were kind of big and disgusting. A lot of empty buildings. Could be homeless shelters, and those people could finally do what they're supposed to be learning to do. Instead of screwing up 6 days a week, and said, oh, I'm trying to get a good feeling after going to church for a few hours, for less than an hour, and then sticking money in a basket, thinking all is well. So the biggest respect I have in the people that do prison visits, that's probably not my realm. Hospital visits, nursing home visits, feeding the poor and hungry. Now, those would be my favorite charities. So, we left with 226 range, which is advertised at 89%. We've driven 21 miles and we're showing 216 range. So, turning off the e-pedal, I don't know. We've never done the comparison stuff. Since it's a private vehicle, we're not going to do all the tests as people do, where they use borrowed or somebody else's vehicles. I have to treat this the best I can to make it last as long as I can. And I don't see myself driving it in the salt, or the wife driving her Chevy in the salt. We each kept our old vehicles for beater cars for that. And we're probably going to use her Nissan mostly, because it's all-wheel drive. And it's got a new set of Pirellis on there from a year ago. I got to get those rotated. But it's like a 40-mile drive to where I got the tires, a discount tire, to do the free rotation. Otherwise, I got to do it myself. Basically, you just jack up one side of the car, 2 jacks, rotate them front to back, and then when you look at the recommendation, there's usually a swap sides. And then I'll usually jack up the front or back, whatever one needs swapped, and do that rotation. So, like 3 jackings a tire, 2 tire rotations at a time to get it done at home. But if I burn a little gas and go to Aurora and have them do it, make an appointment or something, just find out, maybe stop at Harbor Freight Tools over there, or find some other point of interest on the way there, on the way home, to make the trip worthwhile. So we got a car mostly cleaned up. We need to wax the roof. Rubbed out the clear coat on the rest of the car, waxed it, and maybe even put a second coat of wax on the rest of the car. Alright, well, we're coming back in Salem. I'm going by Kent State Salem campus. That's where I went to college, just for a couple of years, about 2.5 years. The clouds just almost the same as yesterday. The wind is mostly from the west instead of south today. Yesterday was blowing from the south and seemed a lot stronger than today. So it's changed direction. So it's either going toward the east or east-northeast. Yeah, I'm showing a lot of regen coming down the hill here, just using battery mode. Alright, if you would, like and share. Tell all your friends, tell your relatives. You have Having trouble sleeping? Turn on Dave's Home Movies on YouTube. At least they won't give you seizures like my parents' home movies. Maybe. Is he gonna stop? Oh yeah, so the church here uses police for traffic. The American flags tell you they're still worldly. Tax dollars at work. Yeah, you're supposed to be separate from the world. I mean, us non-church going folks know more than what them people think. Probably know more than them. The little American flags out front is not in the thing they're supposed to be doing. Be separate. A lot of regular people know more than the church people about what those people are doing, but they get in tunnel vision and forget about what they're supposed to be doing. Well, I'm gonna go up a few streets. I don't like this road. I don't like I gotta stay off a lot of the jointed or the old concrete roads in town here. There's Southeast Boulevard. It used to be 8th Street, but they paved it over. North Union, Ridgewood, Summit Street. State Street's not too bad. And it's just, I've got neck trouble and it'll actually makes me exhausted. So, yeah, Summit Street, that's something we took as kids all the time, or the one we just passed. But I think we'll go up and I think it's Etna or something. It's just a little short street. And I'll call it like the mystery spot, because you can take a road Dad used to walk on back up the hill, and it's like this one. There's no hill hardly. But if you go up Franklin Avenue, there's like a hill that's steep. But yeah, if you take just like a half a block over, there's this road that's it's just, there's hardly any hill. I'm pretty sure that's why Dad walked it. Said, oh, it's hard to get up one hill, but it's easy to get up that one. You end up at the same point, but you do come out and past the peak on Franklin. So I don't know what, it's just, it feels like a mystery spot. So yeah, there's a hill there, but you don't feel it much walking or bike riding. Where if you turn right here at the light, you can see the steepness already. And it's just strange. It's a half a block away. So, all right, that's where we're going to end it. Be safe out there. Be kind. Take care.